Looks like we're live.
Live. You can't even do it. You can't even like say it as light as you want. You can just pull Clinton in. He can't not.
You can't not what? Say live all the time. Every podcast. All I know is I'm just like, I could listen to this pretzel music all day. Little synthwave, Just, hey y'all, welcome to the Delirious Dad's Gaming Podcast. We're going to talk about games and more games that we don't play. Alright.
That's what makes us Delirious Dads. If you're a new listener and you just jumped in and heard the trash spewing from Mr. Clinton's mouth, we're Delirious Dad's Gaming Podcast, so we don't get to play as much as we want. You know what we're talking about.
If you're a dad that's busy, you know.
You've always got that dad. I'm not sure what you mean. I mean, I hang out with my kid at least 5 times a week. I play like probably 20 hours and I work a 40-hour job. I mean, what do you...
what are you talking about?
Oh, were you wanting me to say shut up? Because I can. Is that...
All day long.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's watch some of that highlight video, babe.
Babe?
Babe?
That came out on accident.
Babe?
It'd be hilarious if that door slammed shut and it just went up to a 10. We're like, what?
Oh, 10.
There it goes.
Oh, she got me.
The deal.
She got me.
No, I got the deal.
Going.
We're Delirious Dad's Gaming.
So are you going to be a gamer that's a dad, or are you going to be a dad that's a gamer?
Go check out the Delirious Dads Gaming Podcast, available today on your favorite podcast platforms and at the website deliriousdadsgaming.com. The Delirious Dads Gaming Podcast is a gaming podcast geared towards dads who are gaming enthusiasts. They don't take themselves so serious that they can't have fun. They include fun, joking banter that keeps the content both entertaining and relaxing. They bring gaming news.
The Halo Infinite teaser seems like it's marking the return of the Banished.
Dr. Disrespect, so Twitch has permanently banned him and nobody knows why.
Game reviews.
Crackdown 3. Most reviewed game of this century.
Tips and tricks. And gaming quizzes with a dad perspective in mind. If you're a gamer, but life keeps you too busy to keep up, they have your back.
Yeah.
Check it out today on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Twitch, YouTube, and more. That's
this guy's
the Delirious Dads Gaming Podcast. You can also find them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Search Delirious Dads Gaming. Delirious Dads Gaming Podcast at DeliriousDadsGaming.com. Go check it out now.
Only the leader does.
The elite.
On this episode of the Delirious Dads Gaming Podcast.
I think I'm going to pay nothing for that.
We talk about the future of gaming and gaming in the past.
Hey, I made it big, guys, so now I'm going to sell. Tell that dog to shut up.
Tell your mic to pick up your voice.
And now, the Delirious Dads Gaming Podcast.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to episode 104 of the DDG podcast. I'm Clinton Stanley, and I'm here with...
Big, extra big, getting smaller Ryan.
Yeah, woof woof.
And the Huntsman 420. Wow.
What is up, Hunter? It's good to have you back after 2 weeks. What, 2 weeks? 2 weeks you was gone?
Yeah, man. It's been crazy.
Yeah. Hunter's battling illnesses, fighting off robbers, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just me. I was sick for the first half of February, but then my wife was sick the second half, and I actually had COVID the first part of the month, and we thought Natalie had the same, and it turned out being something else. So she's fine now; she's recovered. But it was scary. I mean, you know, you always think, well, we're young enough, we'll be all right. Like, and I never thought anything else than that. I knew we were going to be okay, but there's those, you know, times where it's really rough and you think, this is a little sketchy.
And then if your friends like me and Ryan, the night that he was on the podcast where he's talking about he's sick and had diarrhea and we made fun of him, that's when he had diarrhea.
I don't even think that was a podcast. We were playing afterwards, I think.
Oh, is that what it was?
Well, I think it was either a podcast night or not, but I know when I said that it was
I know we was doing something because you got made fun of pretty good.
We were streaming. I think we were playing Warfare, and I was like, guys, I'm not feeling good tonight. Like, I need to go.
Oh yeah,
I need to go lay down. You guys were like, come on, man, just do like one more game. And
that was Warfare.
I figured out like 2 days later that I had COVID. So you're just giving me all this crap. Like,
that's all right. I don't regret it one bit though.
I don't care if you have COVID or the flu or the common cold or whatever it is.
As a good friend, as a guy, we're gonna run you into the dirt until you're near death. Then we may jump in and save you.
Yeah,
probably not though, because if you die of COVID, then there's nothing we can do really. I mean, we can't like jump in and save you.
Let it run its course.
Yeah, it just is what it is.
Yeah, man.
Just have to accept your fate.
But hey, moving on from the morbid into tonight's episode, we've got gaming news, like some stuff really shuffled this past week, so we're gonna talk about that.
The deck has been shuffled.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
Things have changed, you know. And then I don't know what Hunter's bringing, but I trust that it's going to be the best of anything in entertainment.
Sponsored by PlayStation.
He's bringing gaming news. What do you mean you don't know what he's bringing?
Oh, I thought he was bringing entertainment.
Oh, he always brings entertainment. Look at his face.
Yeah.
On Rocket League, my tag is the entertainer, so you guys just get ready.
Oh, you changed it, huh? Mm-hmm. You got a whole new tag.
Yeah, you guys haven't played with me recently, but I'm pretty good now.
He's a Rocket League snob now.
Clint, he survived COVID. You don't just not change your name after that. You know what I mean? It's a big thing.
Why not Survivor? I don't know. The Code.
Actually, I actually didn't survive COVID. That's why I changed my name.
Oh, that makes sense.
It changed your whole mindset.
Just think about that for a second, guys.
I already did. He was born again. That's where my mind went.
Whoa. And and Ryan's bringing some stuff that's free this month if you're paying a subscription.
I love it. That was my favorite delivery of that so far. I really like that. Yeah. Like if you guys are watching live, the look on his face. I mean, if you're listening and you're not even able to see it in person, the look when he delivered the way he delivered that was perfect. It definitely added a whole another 2 or 3 notches to what he just said.
Oh, thank you.
That was good.
Well, it's one of those things you realize, like, hey, we had this idea. We're going to do this freebie farm thing. Yeah. You know, we're cheap dads. It's going to be free. And then we found out there's really not much in the world that's free, even when it comes to video games.
Yeah, very few.
There's some kind of hook there, you know.
I mean, we could do the free section. You go the free for everyone, and that's the non-subscription. And there are always a few, but it's 2 or 3.
Yeah.
It's not show worthy. So if we wanted to change that and say, hey, let's go into kind of an in-depth discussion of these 3 or 4, we could do something like that. Why don't you guys let us know if you'd prefer that? We just started thinking, well, a lot of you guys probably have these basic subscriptions, at least one of these 3 or 4. Right. So
if you're a serious gamer.
Or if you're tuning into a podcast about gaming, there's likelihood of some kind of gaming subscription.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. Even if you're broke and only play once a week, you probably pay for something you shouldn't be. It's just the way it goes.
Or we could just do free Java games, you know? Yeah. What's out there on the net.
Okay, well, I'm still riffing on this. Hold on a second.
Okay,
my mind just imagined the scenario where the guy that plays once a week, maybe he plays sometimes twice a week. Mm-hmm. And you know his wife every month, the $15 thing goes through. She's like, really, babe? You know, do we even need this? You don't even really get to play very often. And it's always that answer I'm gonna start playing again soon. I've just been real busy. I'm gonna be playing more, so I don't want to cancel. Like you can't cancel and restart. Like somehow that's doesn't work.
That's me in That's me in World of Warcraft, dude. It's like, well, he's still waiting there on that hill.
Yeah,
waiting to get reactivated. And if you shut him off, I'll have to get the card out and actually do a payment that day when I get on. So let's just keep it going.
Like it changes anything. Right? Yeah.
Yep. Usually nowadays they'll just keep your card number too. So like on Steam when I buy something, they don't even need to put my card in hardly, just the little security code.
Right. And then that time that I got hacked by PlayStation, someone hacked me and just started buying tons of games. Nice. I was like, oh, I'm never going to save my credit card information, my debit card information. Never going to save it on there again. Learn my lesson. Guess what? Debit card is saved.
Yeah, right back on there. Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Still there.
I'm the same way. Click that save on my passwords and everything. I don't want to put that stuff in.
And then what happens is it goes like 6 months and then it's boom. We need your password. And then here we are all trying to have a game night and we can't remember our passwords. Dang, I knew I should have wrote that down somewhere.
Remember that app I told you about? Don't say it on here.
Oh.
But that app I told you about, that's what it needs to be for everything. Yeah. That would work.
Yeah, that would be good.
I know you guys are excited about that. It'll be coming in 16 years. You'll see it.
16 years.
16 years.
That's just how long it takes dads to execute anything. So it's normal.
Well, time is relative, right? So
yeah.
I was listening to an audiobook about time, and now I'm just like, well, what's real?
Yep.
Yep.
Just, I love it.
DMT City.
Hold on, Clint, you can't
quantum
do that.
Physics. It's quantum physics.
I'm the only guy that goes into those kind of rabbit holes. You're not allowed to go there.
It's a quantum physics audiobook, and he starts talking about. I don't want to get into it because it's a gaming podcast, and we just start going into straight crazy ideas. I guarantee
that plenty of our listeners right now are going, just get into it. We're not going to, guys.
Right.
I know we're all geek out on that kind of stuff from time to time.
Well, eventually we need to start an extra content section for a subscription or something, and then we can have
just full discussion,
a whole nother podcast almost of just discussion on stuff,
And people can just request, hey, you guys started to talk about this the other day. Why don't we do why don't you guys put some of that out? Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, we're only in chapter 2, and he's already talking about like if you zoom out like a microscope and look at the Earth, there's really no past, present, or future, and it's getting wild. It's getting wild. But anyway, we're not going to go there. We're going to talk about zooming out and looking at the world of Valheim.
Or
Valheim. Which is it, guys?
I think it's Valheim.
Yeah, I think Valheim sounds better.
Yeah, Valheim.
But I've been calling it Valheim, so.
Yeah, it's because we're country.
Well, the only reason I said I think it's Valheim because I wanted to see if anybody caught the fact that a little while ago I committed to Valheim when I was talking to Hunter.
Okay.
So,
oh, really?
Yeah, I did.
Well, I think it might be Heim though, because there's Mike Morheim who used to own Blizzard, and then there's stuff on their things. They're like Stormheim, Heim, the Heiminator, Heim, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So let's just go with that. Valheim.
Because a guy works for Blizzard, it's Valheim.
Well, no, it's just they usually like on their Viking stuff. The same. Well, I've heard him pronounce it Heim.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, kind of like Ubisoft.
Ubisoft.
Yeah, but then we hear the people actually say Ubisoft, and it's like, why after 15 years am I just now hearing this?
Yeah,
and it's all dawning on me.
It's fine.
Relative, baby, relative.
It's relative. Exactly. It's completely relative.
But let's talk about this game, guys. We got into it, and we told you last week, me and Ryan gave you a little sliver that we was playing this new survival game called Valheim. And I think we probably called it Valheim on that episode.
Well, I can tell you right off the bat, an opinion of a game like this is definitely relative.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All about the relativity of a good game.
Okay, guys, we'll talk about this later. Come on now.
Oh, you don't want to talk about it right now?
No, we can talk about Valheim, but the relativity of time.
We weren't talking about time. We were talking about the game.
Okay.
Yeah. Time and space of Valheim, which is relative to the Vikings.
I'm having fun. Let's start with that. Are you guys having fun?
Oh, man. I've been I'm working Overload right now this week, and I'm just like, I want to be playing Valheim instead of doing this crap. I want, it's been on my, especially I took off last week. Or last weekend to go to state to watch my nephew win state, baby. State champ, 138 pounds.
I know he probably doesn't listen to the podcast, but Congratulations, buddy.
Wow. Just sell us down the river, why don't you, Judas?
Well, he's a kid. It's a
He's not
Delirious Dads
bad,
podcast.
yeah.
He's a young kid. You know what I mean?
So
He
you're
probably
saying-
listens to make us feel good and says he listens. You know, it's like the Cliff Notes. He clips through it. So you guys talked about this and this, but he didn't really sit there and listen.
So he did that. I got really trashed Friday night. Was sick Saturday morning, puking my guts out. Yep. You talk about wanting time not to exist. That was rough. Yeah.
And during that whole thing, you're sitting here thinking, sure would have been a better weekend had I just played some Valheim instead of getting drunk. Not skip the rest.
What we're talking about is we were just talking about how we say we'll never subscribe again and put our bank information, and then we do it. It's the same thing with drinking. I remember in my college party years, just like drinking and then being hunched over and like, God, I'll never do this again if you just get me through this. Let me go to sleep peacefully right now. Let this go away, and I'll never touch it again. And then next weekend, same thing.
There you are. Yep.
Mhm.
Just like, dang, it ruined your whole day.
We're stupid humans.
Mikhail was pissed
I bet she was.
all
I
Saturday.
foresaw that.
Was just not happy.
I swung her a text. I said, "Hey, is Clinton alive? Just check in on you because I knew you wouldn't be up that early in the morning."
Yeah, you screwed me. That just made it worse.
No.
Now that you're.
Oh, yeah, that was evidence. Oh, Hunter's texting to check on you. He thinks you're dead.
What other evidence does she need?
Other than you being toasted.
When
But
you
you
find-
recovered. You recovered from being toasted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Finally got a hold of some 7-Up after throwing up.
And you realized you're still in love with Valheim.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And so back into the graphics of this game, we got in. I'm like,
cutting edge.
yeah, this is Nintendo 64.
Oh, you
Not-
can't say
not
that.
that bad.
PlayStation. Yeah.
Okay, come
Yeah,
on.
not
Yeah.
that bad, but it was definitely like, what is the art?
It's like a
choice
little better than WoW. Oh, that hurt.
of old, of 04 maybe. Of 04 maybe.
Would you guys agree? Maybe PlayStation 2 graphics.
It was
It's, yeah,
interesting.
I would say, well, I mean, in all reality, I would say it's better than like, it's as good as like some of the older like remakes, right? Like when they remake like an old PlayStation game and it kind of looks better,
Mm-hmm.
they
but it
keep
doesn't
the
look
old
modern. That's
Yeah.
kind of where it's at, it's somewhere in between. But not all the graphics, guys, and we're not giving an in-depth review. We're giving initial thoughts. That's what this conversation is.
Well,
when
and,
you first
when I
graphic
was looking,
characters-
he wasn't really in the world yet either. So let's
Oh, yeah,
let's specify
that's
that. I
wrong.
guess he was like
You're
in a
talking-
dark lit area.
If you're talking about when he's standing next to the
Yeah,
fire, and
just
you're
the
designing
character.
your
Yeah,
and you have a total character choice list of 4 things. Yes. And you're looking at them and you're like, oh, so everybody's going to look exactly the same.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the game. It's just what it is.
I can have
And
red, blonde, or brown hair. Oh,
Right,
black.
and then
I
you
guess you can throw black in there.
Yeah, and then you can blondize any of those colors, which makes absolutely no sense. If somehow it still does something. So I don't know, or whatever it says, blondness. Right? There's a color choice, blondness choice.
Blonde eyes. That's a new word. You made that up.
But yeah, that was scary, But once you got into the game, you're kind of like, oh, this is all right. It's what makes it good, even though the graphics are bad. And I won't talk about all of it, but the first thing that made the graphics good, even though they're not super realistic, is the environment. Just simply put, the environment, just on a small scale. The grass in front of you, the trees that you're running around, are moving in the wind and doing things that old games didn't used to do. Right?
Yeah.
So
Especially
instantly,
with those trees, they really get to swing with the storm.
There's details, definitely. Yep.
yeah. So it's not just a cheaply done engine. It's just kind of cartoony, non-detailed graphics, if that makes sense. So those
on
are kinda-
purpose. You find out later it's more on purpose.
Yeah. And there's more to the graphics we'll talk about as we go. But yeah, I mean, starting off for me, we jumped right in. We did a bunch of voices. We did a 4-hour live stream and found out that Clint had me and Hunter muted, and it was talking in these weird voices to himself the whole time. So role play for nothing.
That was
But
good.
it's probably made for a pretty entertaining video for highlight reel later. So
Yes.
it's not all lost,
And mind you, most of the video, Clinton was just building a fence.
A fence.
Yes.
Fence
So-
worker
Yes.
Clint over here.
It's not like he was battling monsters or anything. He was literally talking to himself while he was building a fence. So
And after doing all that work to build the fence, we had a viewer come in the next time we played and showed us that we were just dumb. Like it was way easier than we thought.
He had some good offensive names that I said out loud on stream, and then realized, that's what that means. Yeah, it was good. He was fun though. He was fun to play with.
He was good. We don't want to tell you too many of the details of all what you can do, because if you haven't played, that's part of the fun.
Right.
So I know it's a new enough game. A lot of people are thinking about playing. So we don't want to tell you exactly. When you run into this will make it a lot easier for you, because that's part of a survival game.
Right.
It doesn't have best directions, and that's all kind of part of the learning thing. But in the simple line of things, I think they did a good job of balancing enemies early on. They weren't too strong. Balancing things that you can find to eat, even though you don't know how to cook yet. I thought that was good, right? Because and then you learn that if you eat more, things are improved and whatnot later. But in the beginning, there's just enough that you could die if you're dumb. You know what I mean? If you just really go get a bunch of enemies on you or something like that. But
we did pretty early in the game.
Yeah,
I think.
but it's also set up to where you could easily not do that.
Yeah,
and be fine.
Now, the game is set up so you guys can understand how it works. The game is set up as I guess you do like private servers. Is how it's set up, and so you can do up to 10 players on a server, including yourself, and it uses your IP address as the server. If that makes sense. So the catch to that is, if you're making it, make sure you're on with someone that's going to be able to turn it on for you, because you can't get back on that server if your friend's not on the game. So, like, for instance, I started Delirion server with them, and then whenever I wasn't on, they couldn't get on, or if I got off, it would kick them off the server immediately. So hopefully they end up doing like some dedicated servers to help with that. But each server has its own password that you make each time you go in. You have to set a new password, so that's a little different. But it works pretty smooth.
And there's some work to that too. Like, why is there a password? It's kind of there because you can't not put a password on, right? I understand. Hey, let's put a password because while Clint is on, anybly could join in, right? If they
just
found
come wreck my house or steal stuff,
right.
or
But you can make your server not community.
Yeah.
There's a little button there that you click to make it community. So if you didn't make it community, what do you need a password for? So there's some things there that are kind of like, I don't understand. It don't make sense. But
and that's probably more so they're an independent company. I think they're from Sweden. So I don't think they plan on it being obviously a 4 million, probably more players now, a hit like it's been. And so I think at the time they were like, well, this will just be fun for some people that want to do 10 players on an RPG server. It doesn't play like Daisy or Rust. It's not super hardcore survival, but it does, like Ryan and Hunter said, it's got those survival aspects to it.
I'll talk a little bit about that later in the news.
Yeah. They have greylings, what they call grayling dwarfs or something like that. Little dudes with glowing blue eyes and glowing orange eyes. We kind of made fun of it at first on the intro, not the intro, but I guess it'd be like the home screen, because you can see like these little eyes looking at you, and we're like, oh, look at that. But it turns out they're very effective, because when you see them at night, when you see them at night, 6 pairs of glowing blue eyes coming through the forest at you.
Freaks out.
All of a sudden it gets a little spooky, even though, it's not amazing graphics. So,
right.
Yeah, and the way the creatures they interact, but they're not consistent, right? Like if it's like, hey, we know that if you cross this much, how some games are, you cross this much land, there's going to be 1 or 2 of these creatures, 2 or 3 of these creatures. That's not really how the game is until you learn the map, right? But while you're learning the map, you're going to come to you've had one little gray dwarf or whatever it's called. It's called a gray dwarf, right?
Yeah, that's what they're called. Gray dwarf.
Yeah, you got one gray dwarf, and all of a sudden you got maybe you run into 2 gray dwarfs. But then if you go to the wrong spot, there's 10 of them, and 3 of them are like giant gray dwarfs and king gray dwarfs.
Yeah, like an elite. Yeah.
And it's like, what the frig just happened? So it is. I like the spawn layout. Like that makes the map interesting. It makes it kind of lulls you to sleep, and then whammies you right in the face with
you went too far.
You're going to die if you don't move. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. That seems simple, right? But a lot of games that are open world are kind of repetitive, or there's zones to go into, right? Like it's very clear that there's zones on this game too, but just for example, like Borderlands, right? You know that when you go to like a hideout or whatever they call that, little areas where there's they got a little fenced off area, and all the guys are in there, and there's buildings or whatever. You know that that's where they're going to be, and it's going to be a harder area to fight because a mission's sending you there. This is just because it's so open world. It's not like so mission driven. Yeah. There is no like, hey, you're going into this certain thing, and it's unless you're running a dungeon, right? But in the regular world, you're just trucking along. Yeah. Next thing you know, it's all bad. And and I like that. It adds a different dynamic to it.
For sure. And then I like too that they'll leave an area to come after you. So if these gray dwarfs, say you're in the Black Forest, which was one of the first areas you go to, they will chase you into the meadow area. They're not going to quit chasing you.
They will chase you forever.
Yeah.
I have not discovered a way to not be chased by the gray dwarfs.
Right, I'd be like, oh, they're on me. Where? Oh, I'm coming to you guys. You'll see them in just a minute. And here he comes, just 3 gray dwarfs on
and they don't all react the same, right? Because a gray dwarf, if you run into your house, they're out there. They're going to be out there when you get out. That's just, you know what I mean? It's just, unless it's a raid or something, they come and go because of the raid. But if they followed you there, then it seems like they're just there till you kill them. But me and my daughter were playing, and we ran into a skeleton. She panicked and ran back to the house. I was naked because I had just died by a bunch of gray dwarfs.
So it was all bad.
Yeah, I hit him a couple times. I ran back to the house. We kind of geared up with what we had in our boxes because I didn't have my good gear that was out there. And we went out, and he was gone, which was completely different. Yeah, then. And it wasn't very long that I was inside the house. And so that, we haven't gone very far in this game. But to me, just being the fact that there's a difference right there, just because he's a different kind of character, means we're going to be seeing more and more of that kind of stuff as the game
probably all interact differently.
Yeah. It's even in the animals that you hunt too; they act differently. So,
the speed in which they move is completely different. The way their attack range is very different. So it's not like different skins on a bunch of the same animated, predetermined paths like some of those kind of open world games are. Some of the, indie kind of open world games tend to be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of variation in the creatures' actions, not just in their look, but in the way they fight and all that, and it makes it fun for sure.
I think overall it's an accessible role playing game. It hits all the survival role playing game aspects, but then like guys who aren't as much role players like Ryan or Hunter, they can get into it and actually become immersed too, and not feel so kind of forced into it, I guess.
I'm a sucker for it because I really love Greek and Nordic mythology. Some of those, I love the storytelling of those cultures, and hence God of War. I love God of War because of the Spartan and then all that stuff. But because it takes place in that era, and then also, I would just say, without going into any detail, I think this is my favorite survival game I've played so far. Just because it is a little bit more lighthearted, and you can focus on things, in the world without having to constantly worry about. Like DayZ, man, I do like that game, and I give it a chance, but it is so intense, and if you're not into the intensity of it, you're not gonna like it, because it's just like I can get on there. Like the other day, Clinton was on there, and I was gonna surprise him and jump on and try to find him, and it took me an hour and a half to get to them. Not because I couldn't find them, because I died twice.
Trying to get to us.
Got killed by somebody. The second time, I just got dehydrated and died on the way to the, because there was nothing you could find. And then the third time, I made it to the camp, and I couldn't get my mic to work, and Clinton just axed me in the head. So it's like, there's not like.
Well, and if you guys are DayZ players, we understand and have just now started dabbling on the private servers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I understand some of those allow you to drop in where you want to and different things like that. But we're talking about just the regular raw game.
The OG.
Yeah.
The OG,
it's a very punishing, and this game's not quite as punishing.
Exactly.
Has some punishing moments, but
yeah, I think it's got some freedom. It still makes you feel like you're the one making your character survive, but it also doesn't like.
Why don't you roll into the part that you were going to talk about? Because we're kind of touching on it right here.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it. So I was going to talk about. I am going to talk about Valheim tonight. Valheim, whatever you want to call it. We've been talking about how to pronounce it forever. But this article on GameSpot talks about exactly what we're talking about, in that it is a survival game, but it's not like super crazy, kind of like DayZ or those other ones. But it says Valheim forgoes the brutal difficulty often found in survival games, and it's a lot better for it. Valheim's record-breaking success isn't too surprising, even if you ignore outside elements like the current global pandemic and the game's relatively low price point. There's an obvious appetite for survival games on PC, as evidenced by the likes of Rust and Ark, butting heads on Steam. Rust and Ark are butting heads on Steam's most played list. So that's what they're trying to say, is that survival games are very popular right now. Mm-hmm. Yet Valheim also appeals to people like me who aren't particularly fond of the game or of the genre. There are a number of reasons for this, but the chief among them is the fact that Valheim plays down all of the restrictive survival aspects that form the foundations of similar games. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The first structure, my friends, this is a guy typing the article, not me. Mm-hmm. The first structure that my friends and I built in Valheim has now become known as our home base. In keeping with the game's Viking theme, it's vaguely reminiscent of a Nord's longhouse, complete with mead and a drinking table. Colorful banners and trophies of the monsters we've slain adorn its wooden walls and the outside courtyard. Features a smelter of refining precious ores and kiln for producing the coal that powers it. Each person has their own bedroom. I don't know why he's going into all this, but basically what he's trying to say is they've been very, I'm going to summarize it a little bit. They've been very creative with this building structure, and they didn't really have to pay a ton of attention to their food while they're doing this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they're able to focus so much on this really cool structure in the game because they didn't have to constantly, like in other games, drink water, eat food, sit by the fire, all those things. Yeah, it is an aspect in the game. No, it is a part of it, and I don't know how much detail you guys want to go in.
Yeah, we can go into that. Yeah. Essentially, if you guys are listening, the food plays a role when you're fighting, and that's kind of what Hunter's talking about, which is different than most survival games. So, yes, your health does go down to really low when you have no food, but it'll never go to dead. So you can not waste your food while building, as long as you know you're safe and there's not a raid happening. Mm-hmm. And then if you hear some raid music or something like that, eat up, let your health go up, and then watch your food as you're fighting. Because fighting does use up your energy, and you need the food. Problem is, if you were to get into a fight and not have food on you, your health is so low, you die super quick. Mm-hmm. So food does still affect the fact that you can die, and essentially not having food will kill you, but not in the same manner that most kind of extreme survival games would, where the actual starvation kills you. This is more like it weakens you so you die easier. Yeah, which is an interesting way that it plays out.
And it's not just the health either, it's the stamina bar. So your stamina bar when you're well fed will actually be out much longer, have more resources to fight with and
so if I guess even if you're exploring, right, it's good to be cool. When you're exploring, you're going to end up fighting, but it does like run much longer.
Along with staying indoors and around fires to keep yourself warm, that also takes a toll on your stamina and things like that. True. If you go out in a storm and you get wet, your guy loses his stamina.
Yeah.
And and then resting. You during the game when you're going out doing something, it'll say you're not rested anymore. Well, if you go into a structured building around a fire, it'll rest you up, and your stamina bar will grow back again and stuff like that. So not the health.
But in a game like DayZ, if you get wet and you get cold,
you could die.
You can die.
Yeah.
In a game like this, you get wet and you get cold, and your health just doesn't replenish.
Yeah.
You can be really cold and eat, and your health goes up super, super slow because your system's not doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, kind of the same thing as the food. It's not going to kill you, but it will make you die easier. So it's kind of I think it's well implemented. I think
it's like a buff rather than a buff and a debuff rather than you're going to eventually run out.
Mm-hmm. So they didn't take it all the way away, or it wouldn't really be a survival game, right? It definitely affects the gameplay, but it doesn't affect it in the way where it's like, golly, all day, all I'm doing is trying to stay warm and get food, and then it becomes just a different kind of grind. And it's not. This game is more about enjoying the build, enjoying the exploration, and the big open world and stuff like that.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're not saying that you don't need to use those, because you will. If you're going to play the game correctly, you're going to have to use those because of the monsters you're going to fight and stuff like that. But you can also do things like they're saying, a little bit more of roaming. But like Ryan was saying earlier, you got to be careful because this is just an open world, and you can stumble across an area that you're probably not supposed to be in until you had advanced a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're out gathering wood and then you fumble into that area and you haven't ate, then it might be a problem.
Yeah.
But
you may be trekking back to get your loot.
Exactly. He said, can anyone argue that constructing our forever home would have been a better experience if we also had to worry about thirst and hunger meters while doing it? This has always been a main sticking point with most other survival games. And Valheim removes the prohibitive can't talk tonight. Prohibitive aspect completely. Food is still a factor, but you're not going to kneel over and die if you haven't eaten for a few in-game hours. Mm-hmm. Instead, food provides you with health rather than acting as a ticking clock. You can eat up to 3 food items at any time, and the combination of which will determine the size of your health bar and the speed at which it generates. My diet currently consists of cooked fish, sausages, and a slab of deer meat. So he's gone all protein. But food sources are plentiful with berries, mushrooms, and other meat-based treats, all available to gather and consume. If you're simply building structures, you don't even need to engage with this system. Eating is something you do before exploring potentially dangerous areas. So in some ways, the mechanic is more like Breath of the Wild than any other survival game. Okay, I've never thought about that, but that is very true. That's how Breath of the Wild acts, Well, I mean, there is other games out there that are story games where when you get hit and you hurt yourself, you eat and it puts your health back up. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so without going into the rest of that, all that article basically explains is what we had talked about is that it is focusing on, letting you explore and things without being so critical of, eating and stuff like that. And listen, I'm coming from this guy's perspective, but I don't have a problem with some of those serious ones, but sometimes they get so realistic that they get unrealistic. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it would. In my opinion, it wouldn't work in this game, right? This game is so much about the building, and there are no really pre-built structures. I mean, there's little huts, right? I mean, at least that we've come across so far. So in some of those survival games where it's like super strict survival, the building like DayZ can be optional. You don't really have to build. In this game, you do. To do anything, you have to build, you have to have, and it's about building. It's kind of, I compared it to Minecraft when we were talking the other day, but it's a more advanced adult feeling builder. It's definitely about using your imagination and building, not just for security, right? You build in DayZ and you're mainly building for safety and security. You build in this and you're admiring what you built. You're stepping back. Right. Yeah, it's freaking sweet. You know what I mean? You look at the design element.
I guess I look at them different, like Rust and DayZ and games like that. You're kind of dropped into this world of like, hey, you just woke up. There's enemies everywhere, meaning other players, and you need to survive. Here's your stick. Here's your stone, your whatever. Go do it. Get to it. Whereas this game is more like, hey, you've come on to a new Earth, a new planet, or whatever, a new landmass. Go out and colonate, basically.
Right.
Yeah, it's very, very different.
Yeah.
And it allows you to play however you want to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you want to sit there and build, like I played with my 7-year-old daughter. If you guys are kind of wondering what's the age bracket on this game, if your kid is 6 or 7 and has been playing Minecraft, they're going to catch on real quick.
Yeah.
My kid is not a shooter. There's plenty of 6 or 7-year-olds out there that play shooters already. But if your kid's not, and they're more like a Minecraft only kind of player, or like puzzle games and Portal and things like that, that's kind of my daughter. Just by choice, she's scared of shooters. It's too intense. She gets all overwhelmed. Anyways, this is kind of a good transition because there's fighting, there's moments of intensity. She can choose to run and hide in her house if she needs to, but it's pushing her to go out there and kind of do some things she's not comfortable doing. But we can really, if we want to, we can just sit there and we spent 3 hours playing on Sunday, just building. You know what I mean? And had a blast and lost track of time. And that's kind of what happens in Minecraft, but definitely doesn't usually happen that way in like a game like Rust or DayZ. It's just different.
Right. And this is the best way to sum it up, and then I'm done. But this is a quote that they put at the end of the article, and I think it's just perfect for what we're talking about. It says, Valheim focuses on the genre's most attractive trait instead of trying to replicate a survival experience that only serves to add artificial difficulty, and it would detract from your adventures into the unknown. So
I agree with that. And the game also just has great potential to add on.
Oh yeah.
They can easily introduce new characters and new.
Even with what they have, we've what? I mean, I couldn't even tell you if we've touched 2% of the game.
No, because we've been so busy role playing it, kind of.
Yep, like, but we've had that.
Build this house by this lake, and
right. Yeah. We've had that much fun on 2% of the game. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Unless it just gets extremely repetitive, this game's got a lot of life in it for sure.
Yep. I agree. Well, that's it for that first one.
Well, I appreciate it, Hunter, on that. So I got some juicy stuff tonight. First one being Activision, guys. Pretty much, according to the official Call of Duty blog, if you want to have the latest Call of Duty Warzone update and the full Black Ops Cold War and Modern Warfare package on your PS4, you'll have to uninstall content you don't use. Says here, it seems a bit ridiculous that you can't fit all 3, or really, 2.5 games on an entire console, but they're saying, basically Activision saying, you're not going to be able to fit it on your regular PlayStation 4. The little 500 gigs just isn't enough.
Right.
So, and of course, Activision treats this as a three combo deal. It's like, oh, you got Modern Warfare, you got your Black Ops, and you got Warzone. It's all supposed to be one thing. We're talking
about probably 300 gigs from this one game, right? I mean, it's not one game, but one. If you play it, you probably have all 3. That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
So essentially, you need around 300 gigs or something like that. That just sounds. You know how big this game Valheim is? Did you guys look when you downloaded it?
Mm-mm.
You saw how big it is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big game. And I understand maybe it's all hosted online. It's a gig. The game is 1 gig. How can they have all that content and it's 1 gig?
It's all about them textures, them high-res textures, I guess.
That's just mind-blowing.
And videos.
I read an article about how big the Call of Duty game was a while back on our podcast, and they said that they could probably take quite a bit down if they just went in there and deleted the crap they didn't use, because what they did is they just went into the coding when they were making the game for the final cut and just took that coding out of it, the action. Does that make sense? So it's still there or whatever, but it's just not being used.
So it's files on top of files.
Yeah, exactly. If they just went through and cleaned that, which I don't know how long that would take, but I may shorten your game quite a bit.
I mean, I feel like they're going to have to do something at some point. I mean,
it's a little ridiculous.
Yeah. It's at the point that they have to tell you, uninstall your PlayStation 4 content. Are you kidding me? That's just not good
delete
optimization.
All the games off your PS4 except for ours.
Right, pretty much what they're saying.
That's weird.
I think you probably, with a PS4, it says it's a 500 gig, so you probably have about 400 gigs, something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Available.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But anyway, and then even on, I mean, think about like the ones with the terabytes, you're only going to get probably what, 900. So I mean, you're still, even if you take up 400, that's almost, yeah, it's almost half your game, or half your on your new console. So I don't know what they're going to do. It just seems a little ridiculous, but
it doesn't seem like they're trying to do anything. Seems like they're just
they just push it ahead. Just hey, make us your one game you play this year.
Yeah, they're the type of people that are like, if you like us enough, then you'll deal with it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And people are.
Yeah. When you're a big dog, I guess you can do that.
Well, I mean, so WoW's the same way. WoW is it's massive. I understand that a lot of it's probably back-end hosted on the servers, right?
Yeah, but it's only like 90 gigs, though.
Right. And it's so much bigger than, in all reality, if you think about it, it's so much bigger. Yeah. Way bigger than Call of Duty. And it's not like, well, yeah, but Call of Duty has better graphics. Yeah, but, okay, Call of Duty has better graphics, but this game has so much depth to it that's not in Call of Duty.
Landmass after landmass after landmass.
Yeah, plus just the freaking hugest map ever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I'd take a graphics cut for 100 gigs back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people would probably. Yep.
It'd probably play a little better too, optimization wise. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully they'll do something eventually. I don't know what they can do, but maybe when we get to a point where cloud gaming and hardware can come together and not have a lag, we'll be okay on that end, maybe. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Next bit of news here. Anthem next. We talked about it last week. Was it last week, Ryan? Or the week before?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the week before whenever Hunter was on. We talked about that EA was going to make a decision on what they want to do with it. Or I should say BioWare. BioWare has announced that it's permanently halting development of Anthem next. They say here in quotes, 2020 was a year unlike any other, however, and while we continue to make progress against all our game projects at BioWare, working from home during the pandemic has had an impact on our productivity, and not everything we had planned as a studio before COVID-19 can be accomplished without putting undue stress on our teams. And this is from the executive producer, Christian Daly. Yeah, so EA's the main developer of it. So they went into a debate or discussions a couple weeks back of what they're going to do. So they've finally made a decision that they're axing the project. I wouldn't say that it's strictly COVID-19's fault, though. No. I mean, let's be honest, the game didn't launch the way it needed to when it initially came out. So you're not going to have a No Man's Sky story for all these games that are unfinished. It's just not going to happen. So it doesn't really surprise me that they canceled it, but I wanted to let you guys know that.
That bums me out, man. I love the thought of No Man's Sky, but there's just so much of an empty shell in it right now.
Yeah.
And I guess I can't really... I haven't really played it since any of the updates or anything, but...
Well, No Man's Sky's still going.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I misheard that then.
This is Anthem. I was just comparing it to No Man's Sky as like... Because No Man's Sky has done really well. Like, it's made a comeback with the updates and stuff. Yes. So a lot of people are like, hey, they did good.
They're adding some meat to it. That's good. That's
so... So I was saying Anthem's like the opposite of that. They did not...
It's not getting any work done. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they've decided just to drop the project altogether.
Yep. So it probably means they have other projects that they're working on. That's like, hey, we can do better with this stuff and make
better
money.
Profits.
Yep. Yep. Now, Hunter, did you have one more that you wanted to do?
I do.
Okay.
Talking about that is if I can find my tab here. There we are. Talking about the future of gaming here, guys. Put on my glasses. So Microsoft they have revealed Mesh. It's called Microsoft Mesh, and it's their next step in the future of mixed reality. So if you don't understand what I mean by mixed reality, that's like augmented. And so augmented reality, as opposed to VR, is changing your surrounding. So Usually when you go on a ride at Universal, that's augmented because it's still in your reality, but something's been projected on it to change it, right? Or something like that. Whereas opposed to virtual reality is literally something to fit over your head and you're in a virtual, like a game or a movie, whatever you want to,
right?
Whatever you're in. So just a little explanation there for AR versus VR. But it actually may be also a part of some VR. So it says Mesh provides a new platform for AR and VR developers to create the future of shared remote experiences for work and play. Microsoft has revealed a brand new platform, and after I finish this, Clint, we can roll that unless you already started it. But
I haven't started yet, so yeah, we can check it out.
It says Microsoft has revealed a brand new platform for its future of augmented and mixed reality development, and they called it Mesh. Microsoft Mesh will enable users to truly experience shared virtual spaces with holograms. At Microsoft Ignite, the company unveiled its vision of the future for HoloLens 2.
Okay.
Excuse me. And the devices that succeed it, where users will be able to accompany shared virtual spaces and interact with holograms that are present between users. This means being able to toss a key, for example, from your hand to that of another participant, something which was demonstrated by guest James Cameron, the director of Avatar, and I don't know how to pronounce this. Circuit. I don't know who that is. Some other guy, a co-founder of a company.
Gotcha.
It's like in French or something.
That's all right. We forgive you.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not cultured. I'm incompetent. So
if it was a fancy food name, he'd know. But beyond that, nope.
No, it's not up my alley or in my education. Mesh looks like an extension of the work Microsoft has done with HoloLens 2, seeking to expand its collaborative possibilities that have already been useful in numerous enterprise applications. For games, however, it still seems rooted in proof of concept, much like the old Minecraft HoloLens demo from E3. Microsoft only briefly touched on gaming with a demo of Pokemon Go. The game wasn't running natively on HoloLens or Mesh, but presented the idea of being able to walk in a park, feed a Pikachu, and engage in training battles within a shared virtual environment. HoloLens 2 remains the expensive and highly socialized tool sold exclusively to entrepreneurs, but Mesh holds the promise of eventually becoming a new standard for collaborative remote work and shared entertainment. This isn't something Microsoft is pitching as a product just yet, but rather a platform for AR and VR and MR developments to start tinkering with the industry's inches as the industry inches closer to more mainstream consumer devices.
So more of like an engine type thing.
Apple seems to have a similar idea and suggests that it is also working on its own VR solution that will be similarly priced to HoloLens 2 at over $2,000. Unlike Microsoft's headset, Apple reportedly plans to sell its device to consumers too.
Okay.
So this HoloLens already existed, and I've never even heard of it, probably because it's so expensive and they don't cater to just...
Well, it doesn't sound like it's been like mainstream yet as far as releases.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at this link that you sent us and see what we got to look forward to here.
Connection.
Sorry, guys. I need to... You got the link pulled up, boys?
Yep, I've got it.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Connection is a spark that gives our lives meaning. It drives us to seek out others who feel the same way.
Okay, why don't you input the data and we'll take a look together. Hey Mari, what you got for me?
To find those who share our views, yet offer different perspectives.
そうですね。Look,
over here.
Challenge us with new ways of seeing.
But I think we should.
Deepen our understanding.
Some crazy Star Wars stuff,
and
dude.
Enrich our lives.
最后一笔的时候，往前。
Great things happen when we commit to something bigger than ourselves.
Let's take a closer look at it.
Place this here. Let's see how we go from there, okay?
This sense of collaboration and the feelings of connection it brings excites us.
Hey, just in time.
Some Tony Stark action.
I'm gonna move it slightly, okay?
It's yours, take it.
We have 2 planes right now on the same trajectory.
As we put people first, technology fades into the background and feels like anything but.
Aisha, what do you think?
I think if we had 330, maintaining 2800, we'll be clear for approach.
Excellent.
This changes the way we see the world, and in turn, changes the world we see.
These numbers are looking great, actually.
There's promise in the possibilities, and what we see and create next will stretch the imagination.
Good morning, Sarah.
Morning.
Slowly coming towards the thumb.
A world without boundaries.
Good job. A lot better than yesterday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Excellent. Slowly bring
A
the
world where technology enhances, not limits, humanity.
It's like some Elon Musk stuff right here, baby.
Center and in the spotlight.
He might be invested in this.
The future is here. And here can be anywhere. Introducing Microsoft Mesh.
All right, there you go.
Very serious.
Oh yeah, I like
That
it.
is super cool.
Now, do I think it's going to work like that video showed? No. It's probably going to be like those avatars they showed at the end. I feel like that's more of the real life example you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
But still, step in the right direction. I think that's awesome. We've been talking about that, like of something. There's got to be something, right? Eventually, where you just put on these glasses and boom. You know?
You wouldn't. I don't know how that would work. Like they were showing it, the helmet or whatever you're wearing, the face piece itself would have to like capture your image.
Well, it's capturing. Yeah, so it's going to capture the other person's image and project it onto your screen in your 3D space. So I'm betting that the headset works kind of like the VR does, where there's something there that's picking up some kind of camera that's scanning where you're at, and
it looks like it's actually scanning from your helmet somehow. Because if you notice, it's only the front portion of the person being displayed.
Right.
Exactly. Only.
Right.
It's kind of got that look like maybe the helmet itself is scanning the person that's doing things. You
So
know
it
what I'm saying?
almost makes you think it's like a satellite scan, like it shoots the signal to the satellite and something's, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it looks neat though. I like it.
Makes you hope for the future. Sure.
Oh yeah, makes me think I'm gonna be freaking. I'm just gonna be that old dude, you know, that's just like I got all the technology, but
That's
I
my
can't.
hope.
I can't hear anything, right? Can't hear anything, can't see anything, but I got all my gadgets.
Yeah, that's my hope. By the time us three get to that point of old, that we can just go to a new reality. You know what I'm saying? We can we can all slip on our helmets and be in.
Yeah, we go to a Valheim cafe and talk about time being relative.
In there, yeah, like ready player one.
Problem is, if it ties into like your neural network, like
Neuralink with Elon.
Yeah, right. So if it does that, then and your neural network's failing with some Alzheimer's or something like that, it probably make your game glitch, right? And make other stuff that happens in that world
stuff just starts popping up.
Dude, you start fighting my bad memories, you know, my crazy memories. There you go. That'd be great. That'd be fun. Man, the future. You gotta love it, guys. Gots to love it. Well, hey, I'm hoping that Microsoft is very successful. Or at least successful enough that they're like, hey, let's push in, other companies jump in. Because that's usually what that ties into. That's kind of like VR. It's at this space where it's kind of like leveled out. I think they got it in a good working spot, but it's kind of like, all right, who's going to go ahead and push it? Push it to the next level. Anyway, yeah, I like that. Very good stuff. Thanks for sharing that, Hunter. The technology man tonight. little bit jealous. All my stuff's like, oh, well, this happened to you. I was like, hey, check out this sweet tech stuff's going on in the world.
You're trying to go political again.
PlayStation Store. If you like it, well, you might not like it anytime soon. It says
Don't
here,
say that.
I know. PlayStation Store. It's going to basically get rid of your ability to rent movies. Sony announced Tuesday, which is today, that it is discontinuing the ability to rent and buy movies and TV shows from the PlayStation Store. The change will take effect on August 31st. According to Sony's blog post about the change, the largest driver behind its decision was that it was the increased use of a subscription and ad-based streaming services, not just those that allow rentals. And the PlayStation Store has plenty of options there as well. So you're going to have to go into like your Netflix, HBO Max, Disney Plus.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That stuff.
I would even venture and take a wild stab at the fact that Sony has got their hands in one of those.
Yeah, probably so.
Or they're going to do one, if that makes sense, right?
Or
like
they're going to rent their space. They're going to say, hey,
something
you're on our PlayStation, pay us rent.
Yeah, so they probably already do that to some extent, but they're not going to cancel movie rentals if it's going to hurt their budget.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So they're not stripping you of your apps. You're still going to have all your video apps and stuff that you purchase with, but they're not.
Well, yeah, remember they pay for licensing, so if they're not renting enough for the licensing they're paying for, then it's not worth it. So
yeah, which when I think about it, I don't think I've really bought anything from PlayStation Store. I think I searched something that says, "Hey, this is on Amazon Prime. You can rent it." Okay. I'll go there and rent it.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. To be really honest with you, I had no idea you could rent movies on the PlayStation.
Right, there you go.
I was like, actually, this means nothing. Thanks, Clint.
A couple people that are listening were just thinking like, what? No more Netflix or anything? For a second.
Well, you notice I didn't reveal it till the end, though. I made sure get their heart rate up. And then, it's going to be okay, guys.
Yeah, that would be the dumbest move for anybody to make in the modern age. Streaming, the online streaming service and subscriptions are like some of the fastest growing industries right now.
Oh yeah, it's almost like it's kind of like the password thing with all your everything you do. It's getting kind of annoying at this point because I'm like, okay, $7 here, $10 there. Okay, now you guys are starting to get me.
Right. All of a sudden you're paying $80 and it's cable again.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. That's so true.
My last bit of news tonight, guys. This one did surprise me. Fall Guys. Fall Guys developer Mediatonic has been purchased by Epic Games.
Wow.
Really?
Yep. The news broke today by Bloomberg's Jason Schreier.
Time out. Hold on. The way you worded that makes it sound like the developer got purchased. Did the developer get purchased or did the game get purchased?
Fall Guys got purchased.
Fall Guys.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Fall Guys, the developer, Mediatonic. Yeah. Sorry. So Fall Guys has gotten that. This was shared by Bloomberg's Jason Schreier, then followed up shortly after by an official Fall Guys Twitter account post and Epic Games themselves. Both companies promise that Fall Guys gameplay isn't changing, and Epic will continue to invest in making the game a great experience for players across platforms. The game will still be available on PC, PS4, PS5, and will still release on Nintendo Switch and Xbox Series X soon.
If Fall Guys already kind of follows that pattern that Epic has gotten really good at on some games, and that is to continually doing the seasons, updating new maps, new outfits, all that stuff. It's a kind of out of nowhere game, right? But they've done an awesome job at saying, okay, we're going to capitalize on this popularity and continue to give the fans things to keep them hooked. And so, yeah, I think that fits Epic for sure. Yeah, I think it's a good fit.
They're like, I want that.
That guy's just like money, man.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
So Mediatonic Games Group co-founder Paul Croft, who's the man making the money, says in quotes, "Beyond the shared vision among our teams, we see tremendous potential in combining forces with Epic. Whether it's about making our own games the best they can be, or empowering other game developers to take their content From a kernel of an idea to a commercial success, we know that together we'll be able to reach greater heights.
So they didn't just buy Fall Guys; they bought the company.
They bought the company.
They acquired the developer. That's what I was wondering.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was just the game.
They've taken on their employees and the project and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like they're
absorbed
working
them.
together.
Yeah. I just misread that. I was thinking it was just Fall Guys, but you are right.
I've been just reading all night, so you could.
They said here that they also released, Mediatonic released a blog post, basically for a question and answer with players, but the URL is displaying a 503 error code as of the time that this article is written. So hopefully they get that fixed. It says here Fall Guys will also remain on Steam, which is important to note since Rocket League was removed from it. There are also tons of features from Fortnite and Rocket League that the team wants to bring to Fall Guys, like account systems, crossplay, squad versus squad game modes, and more. So, it says here, stay tuned.
That'd be good in Fall Guys. We've talked about that before.
Mm-hmm.
That you can't really go partner up that way. You know what I mean? And you end up on different teams or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right. And it allows Fortnite, like, of course, they're going to bring in some Fall Guys as dispenser dudes, you know?
Yep, for sure.
Little pill dudes.
That'd be fun.
Yep. So anyway, there you go. So they bought the whole shebang. You know what probably happened though? Paul Croft probably was sitting there thinking, we're not a very big team. I'm not comfortable running this thing with all this money coming through. It'd be easier just to let these guys pay me off and we'll just work with them. Yep. Anyway, there you go.
As long as he has an open-ended exit strategy, because more often than not, in those scenarios, the guy who owned the small development company ends up kind of getting sidelined or doesn't enjoy working with the big team. That happens a lot. And sometimes built into their contracts, they can leave and they don't lose all their money. You know what I mean?
That's what we think happened to Mike Morheim.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But, I mean, they did a good job up to now, for sure. I mean, I think they moved quickly with their seasons and things like that. That they had no clue was going to blow up like that.
Yeah, and did it on their own at that time, so that's impressive.
I mean, we'll see 2 months from now what's happened with Valheim. You know what I mean? And if they've done something, they're not going to have seasons, obviously. It's not that kind of game. But they could definitely have expansions. They could have new creatures, new bosses, new...
Battle Royale. Valheim Battle Royale.
No.
200 Vikings placed on one giant island.
Can you kill Thor?
Pretty much.
Hey, you just said that, and my mind said,
yes.
What if you had a game that was like an open world battle game like that, right? But you're not battling each other. You're battling who can do better against a boss. Does that make sense? So you've got your squad. They got their squad. They got their squad. The game starts at the same time. You're not in the same world. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you're fighting
like
this
a time
boss.
thing.
Yes, yeah. Who can do, take this boss out with their strategy the fastest? Team versus team versus team. That would be an interesting.
Or you just open up one big server with one giant boss, and it's like first team to kill him wins. But
everybody's gonna be fighting at the same time.
There is
it's not
a battle royale, but there is a game kind of like that where they drop 2 teams in. You got to kill the monster and take the.
Well, that's easy. You just gotta unlock his dungeon, and then once you get inside there, it's instant. Boom. There you go.
What do you mean? Once you get inside there, it's instant. What's that mean?
Instance, like on WoW. You go through a dungeon, boom. Now you're on your own little server against that boss.
Oh yeah, okay. But you got to work your way to him.
Yeah.
The rest of the time you're together. Yeah, that would work just fine. Yeah.
And there's PvP, so you can like kill each other, do battle at the entrance.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they get a little too wild. Then like nobody can get through. They're just camping the.
Just 2 hours of fighting right there. Yeah.
It's like, all right, team, we're just going to run straight ahead. If one of you dies, just keep running into the building. We'll make it eventually.
There would have to be multiple entrances then or something.
Yeah.
Your mouth would be multiple.
Whoa, settle down.
I didn't think about the statement that was said before I said that. So I paused our way in.
Yeah, it went great. All right, here you go. We're going to start your entrance here. Freebie Farm.
Come on down to Freebie Farm. All games are free, half off, and 70% off the price of free.
Games may include microtransactions, time gating, and in-game ads before, during, and after gameplay. No refunds will be permitted for child purchases.
I love how it says may include subscription or something like that.
Mm. Okay, my dogs went crazy right as you said that, so that's why I muted myself.
Oh.
You probably got a little lick of it, but all right, Freebie Farms. You know where we bring it from the Metacritic list. If you're listening, you can always go there and check it out afterward. It's going to be there. I will be trying not to hit on the ones that are going to be over here the next days. Sometimes I suck at that, but tonight I'm going to succeed. Okay, so first on the list is going to be the free for everyone section. What does that mean, Ryan? That means the one that you don't actually have to subscribe to. That's what we were talking about earlier. Free for everyone section is really the only section that's giving you true free games. Okay. One of them that's free right now, which is a blast. It's a fun game. It's called Ratchet and Clank. Mm-hmm. You've heard of it. It came out in 2016. It's got a Metacritic rating of 85. I don't even need to tell you about it. If you haven't played it and you like that style of game, then check it out. Faux show. It's a good one. Okay. That one's going to be on there to March 31st, starting March 1st. So this entire month. That's on PS4. It says free to everyone, but it just means free without subscription. It doesn't mean free everywhere. Okay, next on the list here, I've got Siberia 2. Have you guys heard of Siberia 2?
Mm-mm.
I have not. It's a little PC game, looks like.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up. There's I guess there was a Siberia 1. That's how sequels usually work. But it's an adventure 3D fantasy third-person game. Okay? It says embarking on a desperate search for Hans Vorarlberg. Kate Walker crosses. Wow, that's funny. His name is Hans Vorarlberg. Her name's Kate Walker. It's a little bit. Okay, but we'll go on. I digress. Crosses Europe from west to east. She has left behind all her worldly possessions with the express purpose of joining the heir of the Vorarlberg family on his journey. Together, through mystical and enchanted lands, they will find their way to the mystical Siberia, land of the forgotten mammoths. So this is it's a adventure game. That's what it is.
Yeah, they look like Vorarlbergs.
Yeah, they do. It looks like a decent game. It's got a good rating. And I usually try to bring these not just when they have a good Metacritic rating, but when they actually have a good user score rating. This has got 220 people that have rated it, users, and it's at an 8.4. That's not an easy thing to get. So, let you know on that one.
All right.
Next on the list, let me make sure where it's at. I think it was the first one that's not on that list. That's not on the free for everyone. There are other free for everyone's, but they're about to be over here real quick, or they didn't jump off the page to me. So you got Ratchet and Clank and Siberia 2. Those are really the two that have enough info on them that they look good to me. Coming, and it'll be there for you guys now if you're listening not live, as a game called War Game Red Dragon. That one's a free for everybody game. It comes March 4th through the 10th. It's not going to be there very long, and it's going to be in the Epic Game Store. You know how the Epic Game Store ones work. You click them. You don't have to download them now. Just click it so you have it in your library for free later. That's how we do with all those games if they look good. That one's rated 78, and it's got a user rating of 7.9. It's a strategy, real-time, historic tactics game. Not my cup of tea, but yes, a cup of tea that a lot of people like. So it's free. If you like those kind of games, grab it starting, today's the 2nd, right? And so yes. grab it on Friday when you're listening.
Looks good.
Humble choice. The question is, do they have anything worth mentioning? They're so.
Is their choice?
Yeah, is there a choice? my computer is doing something weird right now. I'm trying to get it to load up. Just a second. It's not loading up the ratings and stuff. Here we go. Okay. So on the Humble Choice, there's one that we've mentioned before. It's good all month. This month just became free today. If you're listening live, it's Tuesday. If you're not, it's Control. We've talked about Control a bunch of times on here. I'm not going to go into details on it. All I'm going to tell you is it's a highly rated game. It's a good game.
That's the one I said looked like Maggie, and then everybody just jumped on my back
just
about
tore
it.
you down.
That's not Maggie.
You said it was. You didn't say it looked like.
Okay, well, it's just like I don't remember shooting my cousin in DayZ. Things happen.
He adapted it. He went from it was to, sure does resemble, wait till this next scene. Then the next scene came up and it was like, so.
I mean, she does look like her, though.
No, she does not.
There's a resemblance there. I'm not giving it up.
I get it. She's white in complexion and has brown hair.
Wow, no.
Yeah.
More than that. Cheekbones, nose.
Okay. Obviously, guys,
Maggie.
Most people don't recognize those kind of features unless it's somebody they're kind of attracted to.
Yep.
So Clint is obviously attracted to Maggie, and that's why he knows this girl looks like Maggie. So that makes sense now.
All right, go
That's
ahead.
not a jab. That's a simple fact. Everybody knows it.
It's kind of weird because my wife kind of resembles Maggie too.
We don't need to keep talking about all this stuff. Come on, guys. Let's move on down the road.
It's nothing wrong with being attracted to another man's wife. As long as it don't make any moves, really, that just means you did a good job, Hunter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's like when you look over the neighbor's yard and you're like, oh, that's a good looking yard.
It's not like that, but
Oh.
I'd like to smell that yard.
Oh my God. No, we need that.
Yep. Let's move on. Wrap that up.
So it's getting weird.
Okay. So the next one I've got here is Endless Space. Endless Space is, hold on, let me tell you. Control is on PC only, just so you guys know. Endless Space is the same thing because it's for Humble.
Okay.
Endless Space is number 2, which is also a sequel. Okay, it's the sequel to, could you guys guess?
Endless Space.
I know, it's a hard one. Okay. This is a strategy turn-based. Now, you guys are going to be mad at me for this. Well, you're not, Hunter, but Clint might be. I don't know what turn-based 4 times means. What does that mean? Does that mean you get 4 turns before the other person? Or I don't play games. It's not my thing.
4 times as good? I don't know. I don't know what that means either.
Okay, you don't know either. All right, forgive us, guys. Anyways, it's a Endless Space 2 is a turn-based 4 times space strategy. Obviously, that's important because they put it in here twice. That will put you in the role of leader, guiding his civilization in making its first steps into the cold depths of the interstellar space.
Ooh, time is relative. All right, go ahead.
And then right after that, it says, "Your vision, their future."
Oh,
it's very intense.
The old Interstellar.
Because they'll die. Obviously, if you don't have a good vision, you'll just kill everybody. So that one's on there, and it's free on the Humble Choice, and it actually looks pretty good. It's got a good rating, 80 on the Metacritic and 7.8 on user score. So,
wanna play God in the Space 2?
Exactly. So these guys are a little bit better than some of the ones we're normally getting on Humble. I mean, sometimes it's hard to find one, and I've got a couple, so that's exciting. There's a couple other ones that are free on there if you're interested. One called Lovecraft's Untold Stories. We're not going to get into that one. It's rated 77. Thrine 4, The Nightmare Prince.
Okay.
We've talked about that one before. And then let's see here. Okay, yeah. We got Werewolf the Apocalypse.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Werewolf the Apocalypse is a role-playing
His user score is not good, though.
Yeah, I know it's horrible. It's a role-playing action RPG game. And your mind might be saying, "Thanks for ruining my punchline, Clint." Dang.
Oh.
Your mind might be saying, what do you call it? Ooh, an action RPG that's about werewolves. And it's a 78 Metacritic score. But remember earlier I mentioned you can get a good Metacritic score. What's hard to get is a good user score. This one is a prime example of that. It's a 4.4. Just so you know, anything below like 5.5 is complete dog turd. So 4.4 is like you might have just, scanned something with the 3D scanner and shot it onto the web and called it a game. It's definitely got to be bad because it's really low. I think the lowest I've ever seen on the user score for Metacritic is 3.8. So 4.4 is near the bottom of the barrel.
You forgot about Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Oh yeah, that was a bad one. You're right. Yeah.
They didn't even mention that this year at BlizzCon Line. It wasn't like, hey, we're gonna fix it. Nothing.
No,
They're just like,
you just sweep it under the rug. If you don't say it, people forget about it.
It was so bad.
Yep.
Which sucks because I want to play it, but it's like I'm not gonna buy it knowing that it's just trash. That they just.
But there's another one on here, guys. So this will be number 3, and there's going to be 4 for Humble. So if you're a Humble guy and you've been listening to this podcast for over a year, and you're waiting for the week or the month that actually gives you some kind of reason to feel okay that you've been paying for that, this is the month. Okay. This one, and they're not huge games. They're just highly rated games. Okay. This one is called, I think it's called Valfaris. It could be Valfaris. Who knows? We do this all the time. Run around the circle. It's Val something. Okay. Valfaris, Valfaris.
Got him in the old Valfaris.
Yeah, exactly. This is an action, platformer 2D game, okay? Set in a far corner of space. Valfaris is a heavy metal infused 2D action platformer and the next game from the team behind Unity Awards finalist. Slain back from hell, brutal combat, deadly enemies, stunning pixel art, savage soundtrack. Get ready for the galaxy of a new wormhole. Okay.
Ooh, we're going into wormholes now.
Yep.
All about that space tonight. I like it.
Relative time.
Look at that. That's me. That's a Viking space Clint right there.
I'm not gonna lie. I watched the video on this game. It looked pretty good. It's some cool graphics.
I mean, it does. It does look pretty sweet. I'm waiting on it to actually get to like some gameplay though, rather than just holding a big freaking popsicle stick, just ready to fight. Hold on, here we go. I think we're moving in, guys. Nope. It's just, hey.
Skip away to 2/3. Skip up to 2/3 here.
No, it's done. They're just giving the, hey, buy our game, thanks.
Oh, is that the game on the Metacritic?
Yeah.
Site? Oh yeah, I had to go to YouTube to find a video on it actually playing.
Does it look? Does it look good?
It looks like the kind of artsy 2D platformers that we like sometimes. You know what I mean? It's pretty good. It's definitely got good music, right? I mean, if you're a music guy, it's kind of like if the Battle of the Rent was way hardcore. It's,
so it's like we're going Jack Black with it.
Yeah. It's that vibe for sure. Okay. Yeah. And so it looks like it'd be fun, to sit there and just kind of chill play. And then there's one more which I thought was a complete, I say copycat. It's not really, games aren't copycats. They take something that's successful in a genre and they try to recreate it in another way to capitalize on it. That's what this game is. It looks fun. It looks like it's essentially the same idea, but different. And this one's called Moving Out. Okay, Moving Out. It's got a 7.4 Metacritic or 7.4 user rating and a 79 Metascore. This is essentially, the Overcooked, but for moving. That's what it is.
It looks pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a co-op game. You work with your friends. It works with a little more physics than Overcooked does. So it's a little more depth to the game, I would say. But it's definitely, the same kind of chaotic, each level getting harder and more insane, working as a team to get moved kind of game. Okay. You can tell from this preview here, it's very reminiscent of Overcooked.
It's got a little Frogger aspect to it as well. Hey, get across the street. Okay. That's funny. They pick up the little items and move them across. Okay. And so this is on the Humble Bundle.
Yeah, this is on the Humble Bundle.
I feel like the Humble Bundle should come with a toy. Or a Happy Meal,
That is, hey, guys, don't hate us because you paid for that. It's not our fault.
That's a good looking game though. Like I'll buy that.
Right, but I mean, yeah, I'll buy that for free. But in all reality, this is you guys' winning list, and I'm not being funny. I'm being funny. That's all.
Yeah.
So just it is what it is.
Man, that looks like me moving in real life. Son of a. It's like, all right, guys, be careful of that.
I'm not gonna lie, that game looks fun.
Yeah,
it does.
I think we would have a lot of fun streaming.
Yeah.
We're gonna
look into that
for sure.
I think. Sorry, I'm not interrupting, but
you're good.
I think sometimes we need to throw some of those games in that are super silly because we play a lot of serious stuff. I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we still make it lighthearted because we joke and we have fun, but I think it'd be cool to play some goofy games like that.
I mean, we had it all figured out with Valheim. We're gonna role play that thing out. It's just
it's still not goofy though. I mean, we get you know what I'm saying? Like this is a really like arcadey fun goofy.
Yeah.
Lighthearted. The game itself is lighthearted.
Yeah, like golf with friends would be.
Exactly. Wow. I didn't suggest that, but you did, Clinton. So maybe we should play some golf with friends soon.
It's a good lighthearted game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I want to play with some people that suck. I play with your friend Aaron, and then just get smashed, and then you smash me, and it's just like, okay, because it sucks to suck with Ryan because that's the normal.
Wow.
I mean, no offense to Ryan. It's just usually I'm back there, me and Ryan are sucking together. So I need like new people to suck with sometimes.
Maybe you just play a game that you suck at a little bit.
Okay, now listen, guys. If you guys listen to the podcast much, you've realized, or if you watch us play even, you've realized that what happened was I had no computer, right? I had extreme lag, and it made me be horrible at any game, no matter what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got a new computer that somebody blessed the game with, and all of a sudden I was better than Clint on Warzone, which just got under his skin, drove him crazy. He almost like started thinking about how to upgrade his computer. It must be his frame rates. It can't be that Ryan's actually better than me at something. He literally fell apart. Like it was a mental breakdown. We had to quit playing the game.
I remember that when you got your computer, the first week we played, I was like, dude, Ryan's pretty raw at this.
Yeah, and I wasn't good, but I wasn't that bottom guy trailing slightly behind Clint like he's talking about right now. And on a lot of games, I've stepped up a lot. The problem is Clint likes to know, hey, as long as I'm not down there all the way with Ryan, it's okay.
We're doing something right.
Right, but now that I have a better computer, he's got a little bit of a bar to fight for, and it drives him crazy.
That's great.
Now, I'm not going to lie. He did get his head out of his butt in this last round that we started playing some Warzone. He picked it back up because he's really not that bad. But when he started stressing, because he saw, he fell apart. You know,
all I know is I can build a hell of a fence. That's all I got to say.
Oh, man, that's good. Okay, guys, PlayStation Now. That's what's next.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have really any of these I'm going to dive deep into. I'm going to double check, but there are some good ones. Ace Combat 7 is on there till May 31st. That's a good game. It's highly rated. Infamous Second Son. We've talked about that game before.
Sorry, what's this on?
Now.
This is PlayStation Now.
Yeah. Okay.
Super Hot Mind Control Delete. That one I'm going to mention. We're going to jump into it just a little bit. It's got a pretty low rating, 6.5 for the user score. But it's an action shooter, first-person tactical game. It says, one of us, which is very significant to me and Clint.
Oh, what? Wait, what?
Yeah, see? It's the only reason I brought this one up.
Oh.
It doesn't even necessarily pertain to this game, but it is weird that they put it there in the beginning. I feel like it's some kind of a homage.
It's politically incorrect to say the name these days, guys, but it's from the movies, the movie Freaks.
Yeah. Basically, it was all your circus guys that have deformities and this and that and birth defects, and they had this weird little chant when they were trying to get one of the guys to realize he's part of the circus deal, and they were saying one of us. And it's even creepier because it's people with deformities and stuff. Nowadays, you go, that's not right. But back then, they used it.
Well, and that's how they made a living.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, you can't work in the regular workforce to join the circus.
Yep. So it says, still outnumbered, still outgunned. Enemies swirl around you in a storm of slow motion violence. Battle after battle. each fallen foe pushes you closer. Each fallen foe pushes you closer to the secrets hiding in the game, and each secret gives you more powers to fight the system unending opposition. The game, it sounds like a decent proposition. You know what I mean? Layout to the game. It's just got a really bad rating. So they probably didn't execute it very well. It's a decent idea. They didn't execute it. But the One of Us got them on the list. And if you guys are our age and you watched some weird older movies when you were kids, then you watched One of Us, The Freaks. You know what I mean? You remember that. You're not going to forget that.
Yeah.
That's one of those scenes that you're not forgetting. It's burned in there. And so I just wanted to give a little tribute to that. Okay?
I love it. Now I wish I had a clip of that guy, the little...
yeah. Yeah.
What's his name? Hans?
This is too old for me, so I've never seen it.
We need to have a
That's
night
too
where we
old
just
for us,
watch it.
too. We're just into weird movies a little bit, like older horror movies and stuff like that. Because it might even be black and white, right?
Yeah, it's black and white.
Yeah, it's old.
It was originally released in theaters in back in the black and white days. I forget what year it was. It was so bad that they had to ban it because people couldn't. Back then it was like whoa, and so then they re-released it in the 70s, I believe. As like it's the movie that got banned and no one could, and so it kind of made its resurgence.
It picked up some traction. Definitely got a little bit of recognition.
Basically, after all the members of the movie died, they're like, all right, let's go ahead and release this thing.
Yeah.
Let's make some money.
All right, so you've got another one, City Skyline, World War Z is on there. The Evil Within. These are all games we know, guys. Lego Worlds, The Crew 2, Frostpunk we talked about last time, Wreckfest we talked about last time. So really, PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Now, it's got some decent games on there, but nothing really new to the list. So we're going to breeze past that and jump into PlayStation Plus, which is one of their weakest in a while.
You think so?
PlayStation Plus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you seeing a different list than I am?
I don't know.
Tell me what it is, and I'll.
Okay, it's got Final Fantasy.
It depends on what you like, right?
Yeah, it's got Final Fantasy VII, but Final Fantasy VII. It's the remake. I thought it was the old one. Okay.
No, yeah, this is the
Final
remake.
Fantasy VII has been free on a bunch of things over the last few months. That's why I said that one was weak.
Oh, okay,
I know
gotcha.
people are definitely excited about that remake,
Mhm.
and so that is a pretty big game. So I was wrong on that. This is the remake. It's free on PlayStation 4 through April 5th.
So I guess it's like mainly just a fighting game these days. It's not like, remember when it was all turn based? So yeah, it's like straight up just fight the enemies.
Yeah, and I can get into that. It's not. Yeah, I don't like turn based, but I've seen the gameplay of the new one, and I was like, I might try that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Final Fantasy. Maybe I'm crazy. I thought Final Fantasy VII had a whole storyline to it. Yeah, we did a whole talk about it.
Yeah, I think that's just video of him fighting bosses.
Okay,
Or something like that. Because you know how they put them in the little world and you fight them.
Right.
I remember playing it back when it was like, all right, I hit him. Now he's going to come out and hit me.
Yeah.
And
No,
like
it's not
Pokemon.
like that. It's fluid fighting now, yeah. And then you've got a couple games I don't care about, and then you've got Remnant from the Ashes. That's it. That's everything for PlayStation Plus.
Well, what about Farpoint?
So even though
That's a VR game.
What
Even
is?
a little free? Farpoint?
Farpoint's free. I don't know what that game is, so let's jump into it. Clint mentioned it. It's a 71. It's a 71 Metascore. That's why I didn't see it. Usually, if it's not over 75, I don't click on it. It's 71 Metascore, but it does have a good user rating. So Clint's right. Good catch there.
But it is VR, though. So
yeah, that's fine. People like free VR games, especially if they're decent games.
I'm going to have to download it so we can try to play it. So,
Yeah, this has got 244 ratings, and it's at 8.1. That's really good for a user score. So that's definitely not one I should have skipped over. It's an action shooter, first-person arcade. Okay, PlayStation VR exclusive. Farpoint is an unnerving space adventure set on hostile alien world. After crash landing, you must fight to survive as you explore and uncover the planet's secrets. Your only hope of escape is to constantly keep moving and discover the fate of your team. Boom,
Okay.
boom.
All right, so what do we got here?
Cool.
They're not really showing me much. I'm seeing some helicopters, Seeing a little dude that looks like he could be. Oh, there we go. Now, see, that's what I need right there. Yeah, now that would be a little more intense in VR.
Yeah, the graphics look pretty good too.
Mikhail would run out of the room, dude.
I haven't even heard of this game.
Farpoint.
I wonder if it's pretty short or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it must be. Probably is since it's VR, probably like a 6-hour game.
Mm-hmm. And then you do have a couple games on there for PS5. Maquette. Yeah, let's click on it just because Clint just did me in. There's no user rating on it yet. It's a 74, and it's a puzzle game. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which I'm into puzzle games sometimes, depending on the kind of puzzle game it is. And then you've got Destruction All Stars. It's a 63, and that's why I didn't click on it. It's 5.3 user score. We're not going to talk about it. It's over.
Okay.
You're done. Put a fork in it.
No more talking about it.
Oddworld.
No more interrupting you.
Oddworld is on its way. No, that was a good interruption. Your first one. Oddworld is on its way, April 6th, so it'll get mentioned next month. And that's going to be on PS5. That's Oddworld Soulstorm, which is the new one. So it'll be coming out this next month. And then we've got Prime, Twitch Prime, whatever you want to call it, PC. My computer's doing the same thing again. That's really weird.
I think it's their website, honestly.
Yours does it too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, it just doesn't load properly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You got Blasphemous. It's a 77. And Bomber Crew. It's a 75. And then just drift all the way through there, and that's it for me.
Yeah, there's not much there from what I see.
Yeah, there's nothing that jumps out on Prime Gaming, which is not abnormal, right? They're the only one that's ever really below consistently Hubble Bundle. You know, it's just the way that you're pretty much getting it for free because everybody's paying Amazon Prime. It's not a gaming thing, and then you get that for free. So
right,
gotcha.
Stadia, you get this is a new game. I say it's a new game. It's a new game for Stadia. 79 rating. Avasi Invector. Am I saying it right? I don't know, but we're going to talk about it. This is a action rhythm music game.
Okay.
Soar through vocal melodies, sweep each fade, and attack every beat in 25 of Avasi's whatever biggest hits. Okay, seems like I should know what that is. It's fine, I don't know. Okay, in this enthralling futuristic rhythm action experience, Avasi. It's got a 7.8 on the user score. I don't understand the concept of the game. I didn't watch a video on that game.
Sounds like it's probably like Beat Saber and all that other kind of stuff. It's something music related.
Yeah, but it doesn't say that it's VR, so it must be something like that that's still just on button mashing, right?
Yeah, like I don't know.
But it's got a decent rating, so maybe it's just really good music and people enjoy that, playing it that way. And then Reigns is on there. That's a 77. And outside of that, of course, it's got the other stuff that's been new. These are just the new or free. This is just the new free games or new games in your subscription for Stadia. And this month is pretty weak. There's not much on there. So that's what you got. You got those two games. You got some other ones, but those are the two that probably matter. There is a new game coming called Pixel Junk Raiders. It's a action game. I think it's a platform style game, but there's no reviews or ratings on it yet, so that's the only reason I didn't bring it up.
Gotcha.
Okay, so next we got Xbox Games with Gold, and just so you know, I think that you're going to just continue to see Games with Gold fade, and I've been expecting that because Game Pass has been just gaining so much steam that it's like Games with Gold almost doesn't exist, right? Because a lot of people are buying Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. It comes with your Gold subscription, and it's almost like it's being gotten rid of in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got Metal Slug 3 on Xbox 360. I always think it's cool that they're still supporting, some stuff back on the 360 still. And then you've got, let's see, what was the other one? It's called
Warface.
No, Warface. Isn't that the one I just talked about before, or no? No, Warface had a 66 rating. I skimmed past it. It's 7.7 on the user rating. I'll go ahead and hit it. It's that's a action shooter first person game. Says become the ultimate mercenary of tomorrow in Warface Breakout, a tactical online first person shooter where tight gunplay and strategy team cooperation define the high stakes PvP experience. I have seen decent reviews on this. It's very mixed. Some people just think it's trash, and then some people think that it's a pretty good game. It's probably worth checking out for free. I think it's probably in that level of the game.
Looks like it plays a little bit maybe like Valorant.
Yeah. The art style looks like Valorant too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
But the other one that I was going to bring up, it didn't have a rating, but it looked interesting. It was called, here it is, Vicious Attacks Llama Apocalypse. I got to be saying that wrong, right? Llama, Llama Apocalypse. I think that maybe it's right. Maybe it's actual llamas, but Vala is what they call it, right? It's an action shooter, shoot 'em up, top down, kind of just, rip and roar, tear through kind of game, right? Those kind of games are fun sometimes. They're kind of just time killers, blah, blah, blah. But it looks pretty good. The art looks good on it. It's a fantastic top-down shooter where you remotely pilot an endless supply of mechs from your ocean carrier offshore of the apocalypse, fighting through the llama hordes to take down the Lamanasti.
Lamanasti.
Lamanasti, maybe?
Illuminati.
Yeah. Like the Illuminati? No, right. It is Illuminati. Yeah. I put 3 T's in there. There's no
Illuminati.
There's no rating. You know what I mean? So there's no way to know what it is right now. But I thought that was an interesting game, so it was worth mentioning. Okay. Xbox Game Pass. Dirt 5. We know what that is. Good game. It's free on Game Pass or included. Elite Dangerous. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's a simulation game. It's got a decent rating. It is a space civilization simulation game. It's on there. If you're into those kind of games, check it out. Super Hot. We already talked about that one. Wreckfest. We've talked about that, but it's on there. Final Fantasy 12. The Kodiak Age, Final Fantasy. Oh, it's just the same one. It's saying it's on Xbox One and PC. Jurassic World Evolution. We've talked about that previously, but it's still on there. Stealth Incorporated, a game of clones. This is one that I thought was a little bit interesting. Okay. It's got a pretty low user score rating. It's an action platform 2D. In Stealth Incorporated 2, you play the role of a clone escaping a sinister and high-tech testing facility. Stealth Incorporated 2 tests both your brain and your reflexes over 60 varied levels, linking together in a sprawling overworld. Death is never more than a few moments away, but one of the few advantages. One of the few advantages of being a clone is that death isn't really that permanent. Sound like one of those games that got an interesting enough twist or storyline that it was worth mentioning to you, even though the rating wasn't super high. Let me see. I'm going to do the same. We don't have anything when I go back and forth on there. Sorry, guys. Thank you, Metacritic. We're over here giving you guys all kinds of attention. You do us like this.
You dirty dogs.
Yeah, Ghost of Tao.
Cockroaches.
Ghost of Tao, or Tale, Ghost of Tale. That's on PC. Project Winter is another one. It doesn't have a user score, but I wanted to mention on here. It's an action-adventure survival game. Okay? The art on it looks really cool. I like it. Communication. Let's see here. Summary says, betray your friends in this 8-person multiplayer focused on social deception and survival. You know, that already sounds fun. I like that kind of stuff. Communication and teamwork is essential to the survivor's ultimate goal of escape. Gather resources, repair structures, and brave the wilderness together. Just beware that there are traitors within the group working to sabotage your choices and getting out alive by any means necessary. When I read this game, I automatically thought of the game that me and Clint play that's a tabletop game. What's the name of that one? It's something Winter 2, Dead of Winter, right? Isn't that the name of it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that this is that game. You know what I mean? It's not that that's the only game made that way,
but
this, you got a saboteur or more than one. You play with a group of friends, right, in a multiplayer setting, and you're making choices to move you through a storyline and escape. You're probably going to have rations, food, different things like that. That's what Dead of Winter is. It's a really fun zombie tabletop game. And this essentially to me looked like a digital version of that. It didn't mention zombies, but I think it's very much alike.
Or Among Us. It'd be like Among Us.
Well, kind of, but Among Us is more like played out, right? To where this is like you're making choices, right, to sabotage the team. To where Among Us, you're just trying to kill people, and I guess you still do things to sabotage the team. But I think this is more of like a round by round, like a tabletop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
At least that was my guess when I read it. Maybe because my mind was on Dead of Winter so much, and it didn't read that way to you. Could be. That's all the details it had on there, though.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, that's the end of the list, and I would say that's even one of the weaker Game Pass lists. And that might be because some of those games are games we've already mentioned, so I didn't dive into deep on them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But usually it seems like Game Pass has 3 or 4 games that are like, boom, those are big games. That's exciting. Let's talk about those. To where this time it didn't. I mean, it's got games like Wreckfest, Dirt 5 that are big games, right? But nothing that seemed to jump out to me that I was like surprised that it's in the list. But so overall, out of everything there, I think the only list that surprised me as being a little better than usual was the Humble choice, which, like I said, is probably the first time I've ever said that.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't like they were big world rockers, but they were big for Humble.
They have more interesting games.
Yeah.
So
that's your free / paid for games for the month.
Okay. Well, we can take that for the month of March. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of interested in some of those. Will I have time to, actually play? No, never.
Because if you have time, you're going to play Valheim.
Mm-hmm.
Valheim.
I'm going to be building my fences.
Mm-hmm.
One post at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Measuring them out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah, cool story, bro.
Well, guys, we appreciate... What were we going to say about Hunter?
I was going to say he caught on. Took Clint a minute, but Hunter knew what was going on there.
Nah, I don't need to catch on.
Brazzy and Reckless did it to me the other day.
Okay.
Did they?
He was like trying to talk to him about something. They're like, "Cool, man, cool."
Uh-huh.
And then the other one was like, "Yeah, cool." And he kept talking a little bit, and then he'd be like, "That's cool, bro. It's cool."
Yeah, and he doesn't even get it for a while.
Yeah,
he keeps drifting. Yeah.
Anyway,
you know why though? Just so you guys know who don't know Clint personally here on the show, the reason why is because Clint does that to you all the time. Like if Clint's intense into a game or something like that, he is completely not listening. You might be talking for 30, 45 minutes, and you don't know he wasn't listening until it's like this thing that you talked about 3-4 times 30 minutes ago that was so clear what you said to him.
Until your character on DayZ had died and you said, pick up that bag. And he even acknowledged it and said, yes, I will. And you get back and the said bag was not picked up.
Yeah,
and it's disappeared and gone.
Yeah, that's a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
But it just happens all the time. Clint gets into things and he's the best at the fake He's real good at it. And you really think he's listening. You don't know. You won't know till later and everything's ruined.
Doing this right here.
Yeah. Right. Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, back to we appreciate you guys listening in. And we hope that you don't give us a fake when you listen.
Yeah.
But if you guys would like to send us some support, you can check us out over on our Patreon. Delirious Dad's Gaming. Just search it up. You'll find it. Big deal is get the word out. Share. Poke.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Smash everything. Whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Be a DDG dad and get the word out there.
Mm-hmm.
And with that said, boys,
cool, bro.
Stay delirious.
Stay dadding.
Stay gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, bro.
Cool story, bro.
This has been a Delirious Dads production. For more information about the show, visit our website at www.deliriousdadsgaming.com. You can also find us on facebook.com/deliriousdadsgaming, twitch.tv, and YouTube. Make sure you like and share our pages to help us grow the channel. You can listen to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. Please leave a rating and review if you enjoy the show. Thank you again.